It was really funny. She's like, is that true? I'm like, what? Is what true? Your shirt. I'm like, oh yeah. How? He lives inside of me. How can this happen?
How could this happen?
No, or how can we do this? I said, you want to right now? How long will it take? So about 30 seconds. Just park. So when I think about the vision of Encounter Church and what we're all about, I go back to 2008, and I had been a missionary in Mexico, in Chihuahua, Mexico, from 1999 to 2007, where Liz and I actually met way back in 1999. And in 2007, I moved to New Mexico to work with ministry there in missions and with youth ministry. And I just remember one night or one really early morning having a dream, and in that dream, Jesus told me, your main purpose in life and in ministry is just to help people have an encounter with me. You never know what's going to happen when you wear that shirt, because it is a statement of who we are. And so I was just getting ready to get back into my car, and I hear somebody beeping at me, and this dear lady is motioning for me to come over there to her. And so I walk up to her window, and her question was, is this for real? And I'm like, is what for real? What your shirt says, helping people encounter God. Is that true? I said, yes. Our ministry's focus was going to be all about just helping people encounter Jesus. And I just remember this overwhelming sense of, if you help people have an encounter with me, I'll take care of the rest. It was around 2012 that we started getting this sense, or I really started getting this sense of that one day we would go out and plant a church.
Things with Encounter Church are going good. Uh-huh.
She asked me something like, well, how does that happen? And without hesitating, I just said, well, he lives on the inside of me. And she said, well, how can we do this? I said, you want to right now? She said, how long will it take? I said, about 30 seconds. Just park. And so, to make a longer story short, was able to just pray with this dear lady and invite Jesus' presence into her situation.
Well, Hunter came and told me that he knew God was calling us to plant a church in the near future, and I was like not very excited at the beginning. I thought it was a crazy idea. I kind of discouraged him, and I was like, no, we have it all fine. We don't have to go and do something crazy. We already had Anna, our first baby, and I thought it was just the riskiest thing ever to do.
Yeah, it was.
Well, God spoke to me. I had to admit that was what he wanted us to do, and that was what he has called us to do since the beginning. So, I feel like God showed me that the only thing that was holding me back was just fear of really having faith to trust him that he was gonna take care of us and provide for our family.
Once we made the decision that we were going to plant a church, or that was the sense that we had in our hearts, we went and we spoke to our pastor there in Las Cruces. His name is Dale Walker, and just shared with him what was on our hearts about planting a church, and he immediately he just like jumped at it, said, yes, you're called to that.
Pastor Julian and Deanna came with us because by then they prayed too, and they felt led to join us in this journey of faith. So we drove from Atlanta all the way to Miami, all around, and came back with our babies. Sophia was like 1 week old, a month old,
yeah.
And Anna was a year.
Yeah.
It was a crazy trip.
We went to
scout the land. That's what we did.
We kind of came back with the feeling that we were going to move to Florida to plant the church. But when we went and talked to our pastor and kind of told him about everything that we had done and prayed and felt, he looked us in the eye and he said, I'm not saying that this is it, and I'm not telling you that this is what you need to do, but don't discard Atlanta. And for me, that was all I needed to confirm what I was feeling in my heart. And again, to make a long story short, we decided to move to Atlanta. One thing we did not know in the past is that he shared with us, our pastor shared with us then, was that 25 years before, so back in the 90s, he and his family had planned to move to Marietta to plant a church. And we didn't know anything about this. And so that plan fell through, and they ended up planting the church where we were there in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And so we just really had the sense that that vision was from God, and that instead of him coming with his family to do it, we were going to come and do that. We were going to be sent out of that ministry to plant this church. One of the great things that we were blessed with was a pastor, again, Pastor Dale, who really understands the kingdom of God and the importance of sending people out to expand God's kingdom. And when we shared the vision of planting the church, he told us, he had planted a couple of churches successfully, and said, one of the things I've learned that is, when you start a church, if you could start with just a small group of people that already knows you, they already know you, they know your heart, they know your vision, they know how you do things. If a few people would just commit to go with you wherever you go to plant the church, it'll save you a lot of work. We just presented the vision to a group of mostly very young people, some even teenagers still, others college students or recent college grads, and just presented the vision to them, and thinking that 2 or 3 crazy folks, adventurous folks would say, yeah, we'll go help plant the church. And much to our surprise, there ended up being, if I counted correctly, it ended up being 24 of us that within about that year's period ended up moving here, 2014 and 2015, to launch Encounter Church.
And I feel like this is the best part of the story, because we could not do what we do without this team. And I feel like it's crazy. I still like, when I think about it, it just blows my mind, because a group of 20 people, decided to leave everything behind. Their comfort, where they were living, some of them their families, some of them transferred to different schools. And that's when we knew.
No job,
nothing.
No place to live.
We did not know anyone in the area. They did not know anyone in the area. We had no connections. And to me, that every time I think about it, is like everything that was happening was a confirmation of the call of God, because that's something that only God can do.
We started Encounter Church in the basement of our house. I think there was only about 12 or 15 of us when we first started, because everybody that was going to move here had not moved here yet, and a few people joined us. Felicia, that is a part of our team today, she joined us in the very beginning when we started the church in the basement. We were hoping to soon, actually start church services somewhere. We didn't know where. We had a heart, we felt like God had placed on our heart the campus of Kennesaw State, and so again, through a series of events that were also pretty miraculous, we were able to get this little building down on Lockhart Drive.
We started just reaching out to the communities, just meeting people. We would go and just invite people to have coffee, and just to hear their stories, just to know who they were. So that's pretty much how we started.
That really is what Encounter Church is all about. It was a stark reminder of why we even moved here to the Atlanta area in the first place back in 2014 to start Encounter Church, to really truly help people, for people that live here in this city that are in need of an encounter with Jesus. That's what we're all about. And here we are today in our new building. Today is the open house. We're officially inaugurating our new building here on Acworth Due West Road, and we are really, really pumped about it.
We are so excited because God has been so good to us, and He's been with us, and everything, all you see around, it's a miracle of God.
We believe that revival is coming for the Atlanta area, that revival is coming for our nation and to the nations of the world. And there are so many wonderful churches and ministries all around Cobb County, all around all of the Atlanta area, and we just want to be a part of what God's doing here and from here into the nations of the world, to see people reach, disciple, revive, to see people have an encounter with Jesus.